All right, we're here with Jayson Hopper. I'm Mitchell Hooper, world's strongest man. This is Jayson Hopper, world's fittest man, hopeful. How good?
Hopeful.
I assume you hope to be the world's fittest man.
I mean, I hope to do, but I've never been introduced like that.
Yeah, well, there you go. Manifest.
You would normally say seventh fittest man in the world. But yeah, I
Seventh.
like that. I like that.
Yeah.
Fittest man, hopeful.
Yeah, because you're not seventh right now, right?
I mean, that was the last.
Old news.
Old news.
Old news.
Drawn to.
All right, so let's go back and let's start all the way back to like growing up. First, where did you grow up, and talk about your sports early on?
I grew up in Columbia, South Carolina, and played baseball and football pretty much my entire childhood.
And I actually had a disdain for you at the Rogue Invitational because when we did the, you know how we did the batting at orientation? You were the only person who beat me.
Really?
Very upset by that. How far did you take baseball?
Not very far. I took football farther. I played college football.
Yeah, I know. We're going to dive into that. But baseball, when did you stop?
I mean, 4 or 5 years old.
Oh, right. You stopped.
Oh, started.
Started at 4 or 5?
I started. Started at 4 or 5. I stopped probably a junior in high school.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then we took football. And you've got a really cool football story where you had multiple offers. And you said, no.
Oh, you really did some studying. You really did some studying.
Yeah. I said, I'm going to Clemson.
Yeah, so I had a few around the state. Not as big as Clemson. I think the biggest one was like Appalachian State, which is like a bigger D2. And then there were some smaller ones like, I mean, you probably wouldn't know any of them.
Yeah, but you had multiple D1 football offers.
Multiple D1 offers, but I always wanted to play at Clemson. So
right. So did you go to Clemson with the idea like, I want to play football at Clemson? That's why you chose that school.
Yeah, I mean they gave me a preferred walk-on. So is preferred walk-on basically is like they don't have the number. They can't offer you because they don't have the money.
Sure.
Because basically they're allotted a certain amount of scholarships they're able to give.
Yeah.
Or else there'd be no cap.
But you went to Clemson.
Yeah, so they gave me a preferred walk-on.
So you had a spot when you went there.
Yeah.
Right. And then you and I actually have very similar stories. So you went first year to Clemson, and it's hard to find like stats. When I went and played college in Canada, basically went through training camp, a couple of games, and was like, it's not for me.
Yeah.
Tell us your story around like stopping football.
Yeah, so I got there, and it was just super business-like.
Yeah.
I mean, it really just controlled like your entire life. I mean, you were up at 4 o'clock in the morning. You were getting back home after everything was done at 10:30 at night, and you're just doing it over and over. You're going to class. You got football workout in the morning. You got to watch film. Then you got actual practice in the afternoon, and then you got to eat dinner there at the facility.
Right.
I mean, that's just the whole.
That was like all day for you guys.
All day, and throughout the year, I mean, there was a few times where like you get like a week off.
Right.
But even if like in the off season you were just going like all in.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Off season they still had you.
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, there was a few weeks in the year that you were like off of football, like not doing anything. But even if like we could be in the winter and we were working out, going to class, watching film, doing the crazy stuff. So it was just a lot. And I mean, I'm a very I have a lot of friends, and so I like doing a lot of things, and so I feel like I was cut off from like a lot of the outside world.
Yeah, of course.
But it was a good time. It was a good time.
But that would have been really tough because if you're someone who grows up thinking that I could play football at Clemson, you get there, that would be, in my mind, that would be a self-identity in a bit, and then like you stop that. Yeah. Did you have difficulty with that?
Not really. I knew at a pretty young age that like sports wasn't gonna be my identity. Even CrossFit is not my identity. Okay. So I'm easily able to like walk away from something, knowing that that's not who I am.
Yeah.
So quitting football was just it was an easy thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
So let's go. You say football wasn't your identity, CrossFit's not your identity. I love that. I'm very much the same way. But then what's your internal motivator then to be the fittest in the world?
I feel like I've been gifted with one being just strong naturally. There's a lot of people who just it takes a long time. I'm athletic, and I just love competing in general. I've always found that competing has just been something that I've just fell in love with, and so I feel like I feel like there's multiple motivators, and I'm sure I can't like pinpoint one thing of like I come into the gym and say like this is why I do this. I can't do that, but I do this because I enjoy it. And I find a lot of enjoyment with the people that I do it with, and it just brings me a lot of joy.
Do you know, it's funny because I think you're competing against guys who I assume there'd be a good chunk of them who would say like, this is my purpose.
Yeah.
My purpose is to be the fittest man in the world, and like, their whole life and all their energy is dedicated to that. I think it's funny, like I'm the same way as you are. We're like, okay, I could stop tomorrow and I'm the same dude as I was yesterday. But do you ever sort of think like that mentality benefits you, where like it's not a need for you to win CrossFit games. It's just like, it would be amazing. I want to do it, and I have the capacity to do it.
Yeah, I feel like it just brings a lot more peace, you know? Like I do want to win, probably just as much as anybody else does. But if I feel like this is my purpose and I'm in this world to win the CrossFit games, I've already created this pressure that I put on myself to like win. And if I don't do that in my life, well then I'm useless, you know, like I didn't accomplish the goal that I'm on earth to do. And if I don't do that, then what's the answer? The answer is like, I'm worthless, you know? And that's just, I feel like life is bigger than sport. Life is bigger than winning. Life is bigger than what you get, you know, the money you have. And it's just bigger than that. It's about, you know, friendships, memories, and the laughter. And so I feel like, you know, I work with a great group of people, and we all make a lot of memories, and we laugh a lot, as you could tell here. And life is good. But dude, the sport is like secondary to you know, the journey that is created with the sport itself.
Yeah, I think you talk about like if you don't become the fittest man in the world and your goal was to be like that was your purpose, then you know you would obviously struggle. I actually, leading into World's Strongest Man, like if your goal was to be the fittest on earth, and then like that was your life's mission, and then you did it, you're like, then you can die.
Exactly. Like,
so what do you think? I mean, 7th at the CrossFit Games, was that a big accomplishment for you in terms of what you expected to do?
Yeah, so last year I wanted to be top 10.
Yeah.
I got 7th.
And then you accomplished that. What was the day after that? What did that feel like?
I went to Cancun for a week, and it was pretty amazing.
Full party mode?
Full party mode.
Right.
Wait, what do you consider partying?
I don't know.
Our definition, I mean, I wasn't wasted on the beach.
Yeah. But you were like, in terms of...
doing crack.
Just heroin.
I was eating pizza.
Gratification-wise, was that hugely gratifying for you? Or was it just like, do you keep the same mentality when you do well? Like, well, it's not everything.
No, I feel like I'm enjoy my victories, and I'm very hard on myself when I lose. Yeah, very hard.
How do you square that up then with saying like it's not the end, it's not my life's purpose?
It's definitely a hard balance for sure. But it's also a reminder. Like I have to like remind myself of that daily. It's not like something I just walk into the gym and, you know, like let's say I come in, you know, have a crap performance at a competition.
Yeah.
I'm not coming off the floor like smiling, saying, "Oh, I don't really care." Like I'm not here to, you know, win the CrossFit Games. It's like no, like I'm pretty hard on myself. I've always been, but it's also the reason why I'm, you know, 7th fittest man in the world is because I'm very, you know, hard on myself. So I'm never content, you know. But it can get easily, you can easily be so hard on yourself that you start to like, just like break yourself down. So it's always a good reminder to be like, step back a little bit, big picture, like it's not that big of a deal. In the grand scheme of things.
In the end, absolutely. Do you think, like I always think, you'd be in contention to win. The percent chance that you win is not 0%.
No.
But there's only so many years that the chance you win is not 0%. Do you see like your window and think like, okay, in the next 3 years I have to capitalize, or the next 5 years?
No, not necessarily, because I started way later than everybody else in the sport.
Sure.
Like these guys, I mean, Pat Vellner, for instance.
Yeah.
That dude's been in since I was in middle school. So I feel like right now, my room for improvement is greater than a lot of athletes because, I mean, they've been in this sport for so long that it's hard for them to improve so much because they're already so elite.
Yeah.
Whereas for me, I've been in this thing for 2 years, and I mean, there's a crap ton of stuff I still have to learn.
Yeah.
Which is hopefully gonna help me keep progressing.
Okay. So let's say 2023, win, lose, whatever. Sometime between 2023 and 2030, Jayson Hopper wins the CrossFit Games, the fittest man on earth. If you improve what?
Well, a lot of things. I gotta improve, one, gymnastics, capacity for gymnastics. You gotta improve on confidence with stuff. And with like gymnastics, I mean, everything really revolves around gymnastics for me.
Being upside down.
And skills. Skills. Yeah. I mean, that's really the whole and the whole thing.
Right.
I mean, I'm one of the strongest guys in the sport. So that's not necessarily gonna be the thing that like kicks me out. When it comes to like cardio, I can breathe pretty well, and that's not gonna be the thing that like kicks me out. It's really gonna be the things that, things we're doing this morning. That's gonna. I mean, just stuff like that. And there's multiple events at the games that are just like that.
Sure.
And so it's always that one thing.
Yeah.
So it's not like an overnight fix, but one day at a time, you start jumping over those hurdles.
Now, we'll wrap it up. And a question I like to ask a lot of people, because like I like to show that this is not our whole world. We don't think of strength or strongman or CrossFit as like the end all and be all, and you've got life outside. But more generally speaking, does fitness mean more to you than just being fit?
Like, let's take the CrossFit Games out of it and just talk about like coming to the gym and like staying healthy physically.
Yeah.
If I wasn't doing that, that's gonna affect me emotionally, me mentally, me spiritually, like all those things. Like, it's about the whole for me. And so, I mean, I started working out at, I don't know, age 12.
Yeah.
And it wasn't necessarily about becoming the fittest, like you're saying. Like, it wasn't necessarily about being able to fight or do whatever. It was more about like, this is good for my self-conscious.
Yeah.
This is good for my mental. This is, I don't want to be fat. Like I want to have a good self-conscious. And so for me, it's about like taking care of yourself. And stewarding what I have well, what I've been given. And that's an able body. And I want to eat well, and I want to put things into my body that are going to help me long term.
Cool. Now, last question. Let's take that and say, outside of CrossFit's not my life. I don't identify with CrossFit. But do you identify with being a healthy, fit individual? Like, if you said no gym at all for you, do you think you could still operate as you normally would, with confidence, with energy? Do you think you could operate and have self-identity still if you were unfit?
Yeah. Okay. Can I work out outside the gym? Like, no. I didn't have a gym. I can't work out.
You couldn't exercise.
Yeah, I could identify as who I am, because I'm not. Because even if you get down to the specifics, my identity is not CrossFit, but it's also not fitness.
Okay.
It's not Jayson Hopper, the strong guy, or the guy who is buff. That's not who I am. That's not
handsome. More.
Yeah. That's not who I am. And that's not who I necessarily need to be. And so no, I don't think it would be shaken. My identity is one, rooted in God.
Yeah.
And I'm a husband, and I'm a dog dad. And one day I'll be a father.
Yeah.
And those things, and my friend to a bunch of people, and those things are the things that I'm gonna build my life around.
That's awesome. Well, I think I've proven you can get to number one in the world with exactly that mentality. It does not require 100%. This is who I am. So, best of luck, CrossFit Games. We're not long out, and I reckon you're in with a shot.
Thank you.
Let's see where it goes.